everyone, I'm Ashwarya and we have with us Mr. Sailesh Khandelwal. We bring to you season 2 of Scale Talks. Today we'll talk about the three powerful forces driving the business world right now: war, budget, and taxation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much inviting me, and I see the lot of good responses for season 1. And today I'm here for a season 2. I think there will be a lot of insights to the viewers on VAR, more on the portfolio diversification, and more on the due diligence as well as on the startup. Let's go ahead. Getting into this main topic of VAR, budget, and the personalized income tax model, I think first we need to start with the war, which is the current scenario, and most of the people are scared what is going to happen, how long this war is going to extend. So there is no predictable dates. The countries to countries, there are a lot of political, geopolitical issues are happening. But what as an asset manager, what we need to advise to the client is that these are the common practices normally keep happening. It's like a board meeting without a conflict. It is not possible, right? So these kind of war scenario keep happening. Now, if you look at Russia and Ukraine war is on since 2022, right? Where does it impact it? So if you look at this, have impacted the oil prices, the inflation. But people know that the actual Russia-Ukraine war started about 1.5 years, 2 years, but actual the war is on since 2022.
Right.
If you look at this in China, US trade war, it's on, keep on. So we cannot predict how long the war can be on in the market. But one thing which we need to be focused on the investment principle is where are the opportunities which comes up. Now, if you look at the war scenario, it is basically an uncertainty. But uncertainty normally gives us an approach, often creating an opportunity. And it is opens up doors only for those who are ready to take that opportunity. Now, I will try to cover up where all the individuals should look at in this war scenario, how they need to prepare themselves for the upcoming fluctuations or the volatility in the market. Now, if you look at the war, which is a current trending news, so we are trying to understand what is going to happen, what are the asset classes which going to have an impact. So one need to be prepared that uh, everybody's know that whenever there is war kind of a scenario, everybody move towards a safe haven model. So safe haven, when we say a safe haven, first comes to our mind is gold. Okay, so people start investing in gold, or people feel that I don't want to take a risk, I get into FD, or those kind of an areas. Now there is one step ahead model, one is called it ETFs also. ETFs is where in such war scenario happens, normally the oil prices or natural gas prices start shooting up. So there are ETFs which is linked with those kind of asset classes which one has to look at it. So if you also look at where are the other asset classes which we need to look at is the if you look at crypto equities normally on a high risky asset class as on today, because if you look at high risky class, when I say high risky class, not for long term investors, it for a short term investor who sit daily on a trading approaches. Now if you look at crypto, it's a highly risky and volatile right now. If you are into a staking or a long term investment model, then it is fine. But if you are on a day to day trading approach, it's really going to impact your portfolio very bad. The same works with the stock market. If you look at stock market, one day there is a rise, second day it's a fall. It's a become like a casino now. So I would advise people not to get engaged themselves into trading platforms, which will definitely impact their portfolios. Now, coming on the budget allocations, if you look at the country-wise budget allocations, most of the country have allocated their budget towards certain industries. Which are those industries which one need to focus at this kind of a scenario? The first is the defense.
Correct.
Okay, so defense, what happened? So most of the countries wanted their defense areas to be very strong. So I look at US is a world's number one defense budget allocated. If you look at somewhere around $800 billion investment. If you look at Russia, it is the second. It is coming around 200 plus, or China is coming at $100 billion. India is coming at $75 billion. So these are the top countries which have invested huge in defense sectors. So you have to look at your portfolio, just not to look at the war scenario and keep yourself risking your portfolio, and then look at the opportunity, which are the industry which we can get into. So defense area is one where people should highly look at. So that is the one area which we are keen in terms of a long-term portfolio basis. So now coming back, which are the other asset classes which can look at? We still observing how this trend is going to work, and probably we see the less risky factor asset classes where this individual should look at for going forward. Right now, coming on a income tax perspective, how this income tax and budgets, all things have been included. So recently, if there are a lot of MSME segments which are coming up recently in India. Most of the MSME feel that the bank loans are a good approach.
Sorry to cut you, sir, but what do you mean by MSME?
It's a medium small scale industries which is there in India. So where these industries normally struggle to scale up their businesses. Okay, so when the businesses get struggle to scale up, normally they look for an opportunity where they can get funds. So every time any businesses is related to a capex oriented. When you say capex, capital expenditure plus the operating expenditure. So for that, every time a business need a funds, so where they go for a first approach is the banks. So in today's world, most of the people, if any MSME people are watching this, they should know that today is a time where you have an opportunity by government this time given up. It is available since 2020, but I don't think so most of them have taken this opportunity to get into.
Okay.
So there is something called a VC funding, there is something called a angel funding. This is already available in the market. Those people normally participate in the private limited company for an equity dilution.
Angel investors.
Now, when you come at an MSME, the normal MSME companies run on a proprietorship model. But how do they can raise money without getting into a private limited company? So government have come up with their mother funds. That is something which is available in the market, which is connected to the daughters fund. There is something, it is called a main fund, is called a mother fund, and it is called a daughters fund. The daughter funds is nothing but all Indian institutions which are registered with AIF. When they invest, government will equally invest those kind of money, maybe 10 to 20%. So when the daughter funds invest into MSME, they come as a not as an equity model, but a profit sharing model.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens when you sell something in the market and there is a profit coming in, you will share certain percentage to the
Daughter with the
daughter fund of purchase. So those companies in terms will have a contract with the MSME company saying that in future we will convert this into a private limited, or we will convert this into a preferential equity rights in the future. Right? So these are the options which are available. Probably the MSME company should look at. Even for startups, there are a lot of infusions of fund is coming up. But most of the startups are today. This entire session is going to be how the startup should look at their due diligence, how they should work on their financial backbone. Those are the areas we are going to discuss. But yes, the current situations, if you look at the war, the budget planning, the investment portfolio, it is overall the mixed scenario. So it is one has to look at how they have to bring their portfolio to the next level. Based on those thought, we will be extending a conversation today. So probably most of the students who are watching, or most of the business professionals they're watching, this is going to be the one of the wonderful inputs which we are going to share today.
So when you say one can invest in defense, how is that possible? How is the investing happening in that case?
Okay. So there is an budget allocations when the government come up, they say by this is the industry which we are really looking at to invest more. When there is an investment getting more into that industry, probably that industry normally the stock price of those will start getting popped up. For example, government is today we see IT industry. Okay, the people say that IT industry is dying. It is not dying, but it is upgrading. Why? Most of them, if you look at Infosys or TCS, if you look at TCS are about 6 lakhs employees, out of which 50% have already upskilled more than about on the AI, advanced level of AI, right? More of the 50% are still under upgrading skills. If you look at HCL, they have trained more than 40,000 people on generative AI. So kind of the IT industry is not dying, but I would say it's upgrading. If the student is not upgrading themselves into the IT upskilling, then probably the job recessions might be a problem for them. But there is one more industry in IT which is also going to help the student is cloud and data center.
Right.
Okay, so government have given more of benefit to the data center built in India. For example, what government said is the way you any Indian institute, you build a data center here, and foreigner or overseas company come and do the services here, right? And you will have up to 2047. There is no tax. So now this is going to push the job for engineers, IT, right? IT companies, right? Data centers, which is going to be an income for the people who's going to set up in India. That's why I think Mr. Mukesh Ambani is also coming up with his own data center in India. So I think Microsoft have signed up in India more than $17 billion deal. Google have signed it, and Amazon is multi-billion-dollar deals have been signed in. So there is one area in IT sector which is getting upskilled is one is an AI. Okay, if you miss to get into a coding, and there is a one more option opening is a cloud and data center. So if your expertise are coming into that area, yes, you have a big scope going forward. So these are the investments which government is promoting. The same kind of investment is coming in the defense side. So if you're on the defense side, the stocks with the companies which are producing, like any companies which are producing guns, bullets, okay, or the whatever the parameters which is required in the defense, if the company is producing those kind of an item, those stock which is listed, you better to pick up those stock right now, because those are the areas which the government is going to be booming on the coming days. But you should not consider it as an investment advice. You can look into whatever your disclaimers on there. So basically, take your financial advisors before investing, but we are just trying to give them which are the industries which are going to be booming coming days. So one is a defense side we are looking at, one is a cloud and data center which you are looking at, right? And one is a biochemical side. So biochemical side is
That is also associated with the war situation that's happening.
not, that is not associated to the war, but that is going to be a more on a biochemical side. So chemical industry side, that is where a different areas which is coming in, and pharma, which is going to be a more on advantage. So these are certain 2 3 industries. There is a focused on this budget for the 7 industries, out of which 3 4 industries which we personally see has a big scope in coming days, right? So these are the areas which we wanted you to look at in terms of when you come an individual portfolio build.
Got it, sir. Thank you so much for your insights. So now that we spoke about biochemicals, are you by any chance predicting a bio war?
No idea. I cannot answer this directly, but there are trade war is on. Maybe in future there might be a chance that it may come into biochemicals as well.
Okay.
We cannot predict that.
So what is new in capital gain tax?
This time, the budget 2026, the finance ministry, they are very clear that they want to restrict this trading approaches in the market. Like most of the people are losing money. They don't have a directions. The same this time, even the SEBI came with their report. Most of the demat accounts got shut. Uh, the reason behind is more of the people are moving towards a gambling based approach or a derivative approach where they've increased the taxation to 150%. So they don't and now this is basically where it is impacting which are the industries, the stocks which they need to look at. Exchanges, kind of any exchanges which is listed like MCX, BSE, NSE. So they normally get some though the price 150% of tax have increased, the volume will come down. So when the volume comes down, the revenue for the exchanges will also drop. So in that case, there is a negative news for the exchanges. At the same time, people who is really interested towards trading, it's going to be a painful approach in terms of taxation as we. So that one has to look at. And I think this time they have increased the long-term capital gain and the short-term capital gain as well. So that's where the Indian government is very keen to look at.
Okay. Got it, sir.
Yeah.
So we're back again with your favorite round, the rapid fire round.
Not again.
Let's go for it. One piece of advice for a founder entering their first fundraise in 2026.
Must get into a due diligence first.
One investment mistake people should avoid given the current budget changes.
I think they should avoid derivative trading.
If you had 10 lakh to invest today, where would you allocate it and why?
It should be a selective and defensive stocks
Why?
because more of the budget allocation is good over the government spending.
Given the war situation, that's where the money is going. Moving on. What is the most underrated fundraising option founders are ignoring right now?
Bank loans.
Okay. What is your outlook on the Indian startup ecosystem for the next 18 months?
It's good. Maybe few startups are getting impacted, but the scope and the volume of startup which are coming up is really good.
Okay. If a first time investor is entering the market after budget 2026, what is the one strategy they should follow to build a strong portfolio?
They should have a proper financial advisor before getting into the markets.
That's where we need to connect with Mr. Sailesh sir. This brings us to the end of the episode 1. Stay tuned for episode 2.